Don't you hear me call? No use turning toes to the wall. I can hear that matter squeak. Don't you hear me when I speak? This here clock done struck off 6. Caroline wants some participation. All right. A long time ago, in a village, there lived a hunter. His name was, let's call him Masusa. What was his name?
Masusa.
Now, every day Masusa would get up. He would take his shield and he would take his sword and he would go out and he would hunt and he would bring home food for the family. The women, they helped take care of everything and the children. They worked in the fields and they helped get the grain. They fished. Everyone helped with the family meal. Now one day, Masusa went out and nighttime came and he did not come home. And his sons, he had big strong sons, and they looked at his seat and they knew their father was not there, but maybe he had to go far in order to catch food. So they didn't worry. Day 2 came. Day 3 came. He did not come home. Then something happened that was really, really sad. Because he didn't come home, I know they still loved him. They stopped talking about him. They stopped looking for him. And they went on with their everyday occurrence. But his wife had been pregnant when he left. And she soon gave birth to a little baby. His name was Puli. What was his name?
Puli.
Now Puli would crawl around, da-da, da-da, ah-ah, da-da. He would do all the things that babies do. But one day, he was able to speak. And the first thing he said is, "Where is my Baba? Where is my father?" Baba means father. What did he say? "Where is my Baba? Where is my father?" And his brothers became ashamed that they had not gone to look for him. And they immediately set out and they walked a long way. And they came to a clearing in the forest. And on the ground, there were bones. Bones that were scattered. And on the ground, there was a shield that was rusted. And there was a spear that was broken. Who do you think that was? What do you call him? Masusa. Because you know I make the name up each story. So I do. It was Masusa who was on the ground. And you know something had happened. What could have happened to him? He was attacked and he probably was killed by an animal. What animal do you think might have attacked him? Who do you think attacked Masusa? What big animal in the jungle? Okay, a lion. You know, I like what he said because this is always my opportunity to share this. I didn't know this till I was a grown woman. There are no tigers in Africa. So I want to make sure I say that again. There are no tigers in Africa. And we just see all the movies and we see the tigers all the time in the films, so they have misrepresented. There are no tigers
in Africa.
Tigers are in Asia, those countries, but lions. So I just want to pass that on so you won't be as old as me learning that. No tigers in Africa. So it was a lion or some big animal. Now, you know what I would have done if I saw those bones? I would have said, oh God, oh Lord have mercy. I would have cried and cried to know that my father was on the ground. But not these boys. You see, they had special powers. Each of them had a special gift. And so the first boy, he looked at those bones and this is what he said. "I know how to put these bones together. I know how to put these bones together." What did he say? "I know how to put these bones together. I know how to put these bones together." And he took all of those bones and he assembled them. They were a perfect skeleton. Second brother said, "I can cover these bones with muscles and flesh." What did he say? "I can cover these bones with muscles and flesh." Oh my God, Masusa looked just like himself, but he was cold and he was stiff. Third brother said, "I I can put blood into his veins. What did he say? I can put blood into, and his heart started to beat. His skin was no longer ashen, it was warm and brown, but he was still just on the ground. Other brothers said, I can make him rise again. What? I can make him rise and Masusa sat up. And the last brother said, I can give him the power of speech. What did he say? I can give him the power of speech. And Ogalusa said, pick up my weapons and let's go home. And they walked through the forest, and you know his wife was delighted. Oh, she couldn't believe that he had come home. He went inside. He stayed for a long time. He shaved his head. Then he said, let's have a party. Let's celebrate my return. And he said, we'll have to kill our only cow, but we'll share it with the community. And so they killed the cow and had all kinds of good barbecue. The skin made a rug, and the tail they washed and decorated, and they made a cow tail switch. Nothing was wasted from that special animal. And so it was that Ogalusa would walk around with his cow tail switch, making the flies go away and looking regal. And everyone said, Ogalusa, let me hold your cow tail switch. Is that all right? It got to be so bad that some people would say, Ogalusa, man, give me that cow tail switch. He said, give it to you. If I give it to anybody, I'm going to give it to one of my sons. They all helped me bring me back from the dead. Now my question is, which of his sons did the most? I'm going to start with my friend here. Which of all of his sons did the most? Well, let's see. The first one did what? Put the bones together. Second, covered with flesh. The third one gave him blood. The fourth one helped him rise, life. And the fifth gave him speech. Now, it's a trick question. I can tell you it's a trick question. Don't you dare tell me the answer. Don't you tell me the answer right away. You better not. I mean, which of his sons, all of his sons did the most? Yes. To bring him back. Which one? The one who put blood in his veins? That's possible. What do you say? Oh, you got it right. Oh. He walked over to Puli, his little baby, and he said to Puli, I give you the cow tail switch, because if it were not for you saying, where is my Baba, where is my father, they would not have looked for me. And everyone applauded, and they said, that's a good choice. Now we tell this story for a very important reason, and we can say it in two different ways. As long as we remember someone, they will never ever truly die. As long as we don't forget someone, they will live on forever in our hearts and in the world. And that's why we are here today. We are here never to forget Paul Laurence Dunbar. If we don't tell the stories, that was a long time ago, right after emancipation. His mother had been enslaved, and his father had been a man who also very, very long ago had been enslaved, but not as recently as the mother. Neither could read or write. Paul Laurence Dunbar went to school with, of all people, the Wright brothers. So Richard and Orville Wright, who invented the airplane, were his playmates. They would run and play together. He was the only black boy in the school. He was so brilliant. He wrote the school newspaper. He wrote the song that they sang at graduation time. He was so talented. But when he graduated, the only job he could get was running the elevator up and down. All of his writings, all of his talent, because of racism, he never had a chance to use. Now, Paul Laurence Dunbar had a mother that he loved. He loved his mama, Matilda. And so, therefore, he was so faithful and devoted to her Now, one day, Paul Laurence Dunbar started to get support from a lot of the white community who helped him get some of his works published. He was right here in Chicago during the World Columbian Exposition. Frederick Douglass had a Haiti pavilion there, and Paul Laurence Dunbar would read his poems. Oh, the white community was shocked to see such eloquence coming out of his mouth. He died very, very young. He died, I think, around the age of 35, of a broken heart and of tuberculosis. He had gotten married, and he was so in love with his wife, and she was in love with him, but I don't know what he did. You men have a way of doing things, Leonard, that mess up. And you know about it. Sometimes they can do that one thing, and you will not forget and will not forgive. So whatever he did to his wife, she left him. And though he tried to communicate, friends tried to communicate, she never spoke to him or came back to him. And he just missed her, and he got sicker and sicker. So he died in his mother's arms of tuberculosis at the early age of about 35 or 36. But black man of pure African blood, to be recognized as the genius that he was. He wrote in the parade of President McKinley. President Theodore Roosevelt was a personal friend who enjoyed his poetry. He was blazing paths. There were other black writers, Dunbar and Pushkin, but they were of mixed blood. He was the only black man of this country of pure African blood who ascended to the greatness that he did during his time. So he is a hero. Now, his mother always asked him, why do you write that dialect? I was so proud of you being able to speak correctly. But he wanted to capture and help us remember all of the beauty of our people when they came out of enslavement, mixing their language with the English language, and he wrote in dialect. 50 years ago, there was a project development right down here. I was a teacher during that time, and I had all of these big boys. At that time, they could stay in school to 16. They could be in elementary school. And the girls and the boys did not have classes together. The girls went to one class and the boys. So when I had library, I might have 40 big, musty boys sitting up in that library. Now, you know, at that time, they didn't want to be in the library. They'd rather be in gym. But I would read that Paul Laurence Dunbar. I would read that Langston Hughes. And to this very day, these students still call me, still honor me for touching their lives 50 years ago. And you know, that's a wonderful thing, all because of Paul Laurence Dunbar and the poems. Now, I want to read one of his favorite poems to you. As I said, he did dialect and he did beautiful straight poems. And this poem that I'm going to read is the one, let me see, okay, I get it now. This poem that I'm going to read, Melindy is really his mother, but he was talking to one of the white women who was sitting at the piano playing classical music and trying to sing a song. So this is what he said to her. Go away and quit that noise, Miss Lucy. Put that music book away. What's the use of keep on trying if you practice till you great? You can't start no notes a flying like the one that rants and rings from the kitchen to the big woods when Melinda sings. You ain't got the natural organs for to make the sound come right. You ain't got the turns and twisting for to make it sweet and light. Now I'm gonna tell you one thing, Miss Lucy, I'm gonna tell you for true. When it comes to real right singing, tain't no easy thing to do. Easy enough for folks to holler, looking at them lines and dots, when no one can sense it, and the tune comes out in spots. But for real melodious music that just scratch your heart and cleans, just you stand and listen with me when Melinda sings. Ain't you never heard of Melinda? Blessed soul, take up the cross. Look here, ain't you joking, honey? Well, you don't know what you done lost. You ought to hear that girl a-wobbling, robbing locks and all them things. Hush their mouth and hides their faces when Melinda sings. Fiddling man just stop his fiddling, lay his fiddle on the shelf. Mockingbird quit trying to whistle cause he's so ashamed of himself. Folks playing on the banjo drops their fingers on the strings. Bless your soul forgets to move 'em when Melinda sings. She just spreads her mouth and hollers, "Come to Jesus!" till you hear sinners' trembling steps and voices, timid like a joined knee. Then she turns to Rock of Ages, simply to the cross she clings, and you find your tears are dropping when Melinda sings. Oh, it's sweeter. Who's that say that humble praises with the master don't count? Hush your mouth. I hear that music as it rises up and mounts, floating about the hills and valleys way above this burying side, as it makes its way in glory to the very gates of God. Oh, it's sweeter than the music of an educated band, and it's dearer than the battle song of triumph in the land. It seems holier than evening when the solemn church bells rings, as I sit and calmly listen while Melinda sings. Towser, stop that barking, hear me? Mindy, make that child keep still. Don't you hear the echoes calling from the valley to the hill? Let me listen, I can hear it through the brush of angel wings. Soft and sweet, swing low, swing chariot, as Melinda sings. Paul Laurence Dunbar. Paul Laurence Dunbar. And I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to hear from